All right, good afternoon, guys. I'm WUSA Season 3, Episode 225. Got a lot of catching up to do. Don't ask me how we did last week. I think we did really well, but I didn't add it up. Probably around 9,000, 8,000, 9,000 for the week. So it was a decent week, and really had that big drop right after the big gain, and then slowly started coming back and did all right by the end of the week. Although it was a boring week, it was a good week. So maybe there are no more exciting weeks left. I don't know, but we'll find out. Let me catch you up on a couple things that are going on. Let me see. Yesterday, I was looking at the betting markets, and I noticed that the election had changed drastically all of a sudden, and it made no sense to me. But just bear with me here and see if you understand what I'm talking about. So, Donald Trump was favored to win like 66 to 34%. Okay? I'm not talking about who I like or who I hate. I'm just telling you what the betting market said. And then all of a sudden, there was a poll that came out that was a total outlier. It was for one state. And Iowa had been +9, I believe, in 2016 and 2020 for Trump. I believe it was around that for both elections. This election, it was hanging around +10 or +10.5 for Trump. And as far as early voting, the last two elections, it was +12 for the Democrats, and it was even at this point in 2024. So everything was pointing to more of the same, probably Republican win. Well, this Des Moines Register, which is a newspaper there, released a poll that said Harris up 3. A total outlier. It made no sense. And this is a newspaper that is respected and trusted. And I believe before the 2020 election, they had released Joe Biden +3 or something like +5, something like that. And then the next week, they said Trump +7, and he won by 9, I believe. So all of a sudden, everybody freaked out and said, well, maybe this narrative is right, that women are voting for Harris, and that it's actually changing the election, and we don't even know it. So the betting odds fell drastically for Trump. Now, if you think Trump is going to win, you like that, because now you're getting a discount if you want to bet more money. If you think Harris is going to win, that closes your window to bet at cheap prices. Well, I noticed that on Polymarket, there was about $1.8 to $1.9 billion bet just on the one market about who's going to win the election. And within 12 hours, another $1.2 billion was bet. So all these months that they've been doing this, and they almost matched 2/3 of the amount of money that was bet in all these months in one day. And Harris moved up to 50%. Now, is there an opportunity there for me? I don't think so. Based on what I think, I don't see an opportunity yet. Now, one thing I know for sure, though, is Trump is not going to lose Iowa. That's like saying who's going to Harris is going to lose Colorado. She's not losing Colorado. So my idea was, hey, knowing all this is going on, why not look up what Iowa is doing, what the odds are on Iowa? Well, Iowa was hanging between like 90 and 92% Trump, which is not bad, because you know he's going to win it. So at 92 cents, you know, you're going to get paid $1, you're going to make 8 cents profit. You know, that's like 9% profit right there, right? So I was looking for an opportunity to find a state, no matter who it was, Harris or Trump, that was about 10% away, and just beat the heck out of it and just put a big bet on there, knowing that I'm giving like -900 to win 100, right? But I know it's a certainty. And I was thinking Florida, I was looking at Texas, I looked at California. California was like 98 cents, didn't make sense. Illinois was 98 cents, didn't make sense. but Texas and Florida were hanging between 90 and 92 cents. So I look at those yesterday, and they're both at 98 and 99. So it doesn't make any sense to make 1% profit. So I looked to Iowa, and it went from like 92 or 90% down to 80. And I'm like, this is a good opportunity. So why don't I just bet Iowa, and I'll just pound it. But the problem is this. In order to get money on there, you need to use digital currency. Well, I'm not really that great at digital currency. I've done a couple dozen transactions, but nothing major. So I had tried to put money on Coinbase and then move it over to Polymarket, and they were putting a 5-day hold on it. So I talked to a friend of mine, and I said, I'd like to do like 50,000, but since I'm not there to hand you the money, well, why don't we do like $2,000? And if you could send me the digital currency, and then I'll send it to Polymarket. And he's like, I'll give you 5 if you want. I'm like, no, that's okay. Let's just do 3. So I said, okay, just send me 3,000. And I feel bad because I want to hand you the money. I don't want to owe anyone any money. And he's like, don't worry about it. We'll settle up. So now we can use Zelle or whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm good for it. So he sends me Ethereum. No, he used the Ethereum network to send me Tether. So Tether is US dollar Tether. It's tethered to the US dollar. It's a digital currency, but it's equal to $1. So, and it tries to stay there, 9.9999, 1.0001, somewhere in there. It's always around $1. So he sent me 3,000, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to send this off to Polymarket. I sent it to Polymarket, and I know that Polymarket uses the Polygon network. You can only send the money on the Polygon network, and there's even a warning, if you don't send it on the right network, that you could lose your money. I'm like, okay. So I pasted the address in, and I go next, and the money was gone, and it never asked me which network. So I went back and looked at the transaction, and it said sent on the Ethereum network. And I'm like, no way, this is bad. So I looked at support, and I typed in my problem, and it said, if you sent it on the wrong network, you probably lost your money, but here's a way to avoid losing your money in the future, and it had a whole thing about it. And I'm like, this is not good. So Polymarket has a Discord, and the Discord is 99% scammers. As soon as you get on there and type anything, you get 10 friend requests, and they want your wallet information and your secret code so they can steal your wallet. Well, they've fixed it a little bit so that anytime you type anything in the help area, it says to you not to DM anybody and to, only work with certain people and all that. So someone was there, and they said, go to this website, paste your wallet address, which is your address on Polymarket, and then you have to choose which one you sent them, and we'll fix it for you. Well, as it turned out, I sent US dollar Tether instead of US dollar coin. US dollar coin gives you a choice of which market to send it through. And when you send on the Ethereum network, you use what's called gas, and gas is basically a fee that you pay in order to send it. So like on $3,000, it was about $4. So it said, and then it found it for me. It found I had like $2,999 because there was a small fee to send it. And, the price of digital currency varies as when I received it, it might have been $29.95. And by the time I sent it, it was $3,004. And after the fees, it was back to $29.99, if that makes sense. So it says you need 0.011968 or something like that, Ethereum in order to send it. So I asked my friend, because I didn't have any Ethereum, and he sent it to that address. And then I put my wallet address for Coinbase, and it sent the money back to my Coinbase, and I was so relieved. So then I figured out the problem. I sold my token, and I bought coin, US dollar coin, and then I go to send it. I did $100 first just to test it, and And it asked me which network. I said Polygon. I sent it, and it got there. So I sent the other 2,900, and it got there. So now I had 3,000 in cash on that network, and I bought at 83 cents for a total of like 4,200 now that I have Trump winning Iowa. So I would make like $700 and something profit when Trump wins Iowa, which it's a no-brainer. He's going to win it. So, and it's not even a state that anyone would want to cheat at. There's like no danger at all in Iowa. So that's that. That was a very scary moment, and I'm glad it worked out. And thanks to my friend for helping me. I really appreciate it. And so this morning we had a couple birthday parties that one was early, one was late, and we combined them into one and had a little party. Invited the family over and did all that kind of stuff. And then once that was over, I did some work in the garden, kind of getting it ready for the winter. I cleaned up under some pine trees and got all that done. And then yesterday, I had realized that we still had one of the silent auction items at our house that someone hadn't picked up. And I asked my wife, hey, what's going on? This was the charity thing that we did a week or two ago to raise money for the religious education stuff. And she said, well, nobody bid on it. I said, no, I know someone bid on it because I got outbid because I was trying to buy it for our son as a birthday present. It was a toolbox. So I had bid 50, someone else bid 75, someone else bid 80, and I knew it was there. So I picked up the box and I looked, and there was a piece of paper taped to it, and someone had bid 80. And so she called them up, and I said, look, I'll drop it off at their house. They've already been to our house once already to pick up items. I'll take care of it from here. And so she told them that, and I just drove up, and they live in a mobile home. And I had $20 change because they said they had a $100 bill. And I found the place, and I gave them the toolbox, and they said just keep the change, donate the rest of it. So we'll donate the whole 100 to the good cause. So at that point, I was already a ways away from home, and I was closer to a casino area that I would not go to on a Sunday, and I was going to go that direction because of that. But then I remembered I had a little bit of free play the other direction, and so I'm going a different way instead. And so I'm on my way right now. I am about an hour away from my first stop, going through all these country roads and stuff right now. And once I get there, we'll go in, make some money, and I'll be back to report to you and update you. So sorry about the long intro here, but that's what's been going on with me. It's Sunday afternoon, 70 degrees outside, and just heading out for the day. I'll be back. All right, guys, I am back. Just left this place, first place of the day, and it went pretty well, actually. I go in there. I actually saw no one checking any machines. I had suspicion of one or two people, but I wasn't positive, so it was pretty good. It was probably early enough that everyone who's going to come in and spend the night there and drink and have fun and, do all that kind of stuff wasn't there yet. I actually used no cash out of pocket. I had some free play, and I actually couldn't even use all the free play. I ended up wasting some of it, but the few plays that I did find were really good plays, and I did nice on there. Let me see. The first play, which is the only one I took a picture of, was at about $4 a spin, and about 6 spins into it, it hit for $562.50, and so that was a nice start. And walked around, looked at everything I could. I would have left earlier, but I had free play expiring today, and it's free money. So if I found a play that was even close to being something, I would have used it, but I couldn't find anything else. So anyway, I ended up being there about 35 minutes, I guess, and I ended my session ahead, $747, using just my little bit of free play that I get. And so very nice session, and we're moving on to the next casino. At this point, got to go through some construction areas, and then I have to stop for some fuel, and then we'll continue on to our second stop. So at this rate, I should be able to get through most of my trip, and then just fill up one more time on the way home, and should be good. So that's what's going on right now, and I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, just getting back to my car here. That was a tough one. I really didn't see that many people, but I'm seeing a demographic at this casino that I've never seen before, and that's a bunch of Mexican people checking the machines. So that's a new one for this area, and it's gonna be interesting because usually there's a lot of Asian people here, and we're gonna see how they mix here pretty soon. Saw a couple Mexican advantage players, and other than that, man, that was really it. I saw there was one lady and her husband or her friend or whatever that were blocking two machines. They were playing them on and off for a long time. And actually, the first casino I went to, same machine at the last casino, someone had the chair turned around. That's actually an interesting story. Chair's turned around. I take note of how much money is in the machine. I come back, the chair is still turned around. There's a different amount of money in the machine. And then I come back again, there's a lady playing and eating a sandwich at the machine, which they don't really let you do here, but I don't know what the deal was there. But I don't want to keep talking about people's size, but a very large person, and she was sloppily eating this sandwich, and it's dripping all over I'm like, are you kidding me? Seriously? She's holding the plate under it, and it's dripping, and she's got a napkin in the same hand that she's eating with, and she's wiping her mouth as she's eating and dripping and trying to use her plate to catch the drips. It was just disgusting. So I don't know. Anyway, at this place, I made 2 or 3 medium plays, and they all should have been okay, not great, but all of them were slightly negative, and ended up down $211. So minus 211 at that spot. Still up over 500, so up like 530 something for the night still. And it's dark outside now. We're going to continue on to the next place. I was actually in there pretty long time. Was I really in there 50 minutes? That was a long time. And I searched and searched and searched and just couldn't find anything. And everywhere I went, I saw these 2 Mexican guys, and I saw this one lady that worked at this casino. Everywhere I went, when I was walking, she's walking the other direction. So I don't know if she's walking around looking for someone or looking for advantage players or what, but there was an eerily small number of people here checking machines. So this place on and off has checked people's IDs as well, which is becoming a trend I'm seeing. In fact, the casino I'm going to, not the next casino, but the one after that, is checking everyone's ID now at night. So it's becoming more common. There are lots of troublemakers in this area, and the next city that we're going to be in. So anyway, we're going to continue on. Everything is okay, and we're going to watch a few more YouTube videos and continue on our trip, and hopefully things turn around. This casino was not on my schedule, but I added it, and I guess I shouldn't have added it. I would already be leaving my next casino, and I wouldn't have made the loss, but you never know. I wanted a shot at it, hopefully, to make a little more money, and it just didn't work out. So I'll be back. Alright guys, I am back, just leaving this third casino of the day, and it was pretty busy in there. This is one of the bigger casinos, more opportunities, but also more people checking machines, and really couldn't find very much. Just played a couple machines. I did get some food and a little dessert, and I just left the casino. I'm moving on to the next spot. Yeah, it's so far lukewarm, these last couple. This one was plus $86, so not bad, but not really much happening in there. So It's interesting, two of the machines that I played were right next to each other, and there was a Chinese guy standing there looking at another game that was behind them, and he saw me play those two, and he knows those two are beatable, but some people just, they won't play certain games, and these happened to be a game that he didn't play, and he watched me play it and smiled and gave me a thumbs up and all that stuff, and just not something that he does. So it's very interesting to me. You're standing right there and you're waiting for another play, and this one just take you a minute, and he doesn't play it. So anyway, we're moving on. We're going to go play some blackjack. Enough of these machines. We're still about 45 minutes away from our next stop, and I'll come back and update you. Man, that hurt. Man. I go in this place. The parking lot's like pretty empty, but inside it's packed. So I don't know if people parked somewhere else or if there was an event going on nearby or something like that. But I go in there, and all the tables are full. Any kind of reasonable table is full. So I end up walking around looking at machines and stuff, pick up a couple dollars there, and come back. It's busy still. Oh gosh. And go back around, walk around again. Still nothing to be found. Come back, and there's a table with one guy at the table, Indian guy. And he's just sitting there. And the dealer says, "Hey, you want to play?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll get in." There's nothing else going on. I finally found a table. There's only one person. That's reasonable, right? Sit down. Guy next to me buys in for 500. I buy in for 500, and here we go. So I'm about to put something in my maps here, and hopefully it doesn't start talking. Hold on one second here. Let's see what happens. Are you going to talk? Don't you talk. All right. Anyway, so we start playing. I'm winning. He's losing. And he ends up losing pretty much every hand. I think he won one hand and ends up losing all his money. He had ordered a coffee and everything, and by the time she came back with it, he had already lost all his money. So it was just me after that. I was at that table for about 45 minutes, and while he was there, it was like, couldn't lose. I was up like 375. Everything was going well, no problems. And he leaves, and I can't win a thing. So I lose my 500, rebuy for 500 more, lose that almost immediately because I've got a decent count, and then rebuy a few more times, and I'm in for like 2,000 at this point. I get it up to like 1850, and I've got a $200 double down out there, and I lose it, which is like, man, that would have got me even. We're playing with house money. Let's run it up, you know. 3 times I got a double down that would have gotten me ahead, and it didn't work out. Fast forward a couple shoes. Now I'm down to like 300, and I've bought in for a total of 2,500, and things are miserable. Not winning any hands anymore, just going terribly. Start a new shoe, and all of a sudden things are going well. The count's going up. I'm raising my bet. I'm winning. I'm raising. So, you know, when you're playing low limit tables like that, and people are watching you, especially at this place, they do something so that the pit boss knows you're not playing with a card. So everyone knows you're not playing with a card, so they can keep an eye on you. And so when that happens, I'm not going like 25, 50, 100, 200. You know, I'm going to raise it just a little bit at a time. So I'm at like 100, I'll make it like 150, and then the count will remain the same, but the count had the count was called for a bet of 200, so I'll make it 200, and then it's still 200, I'll make it like 225, and then it's still 200, I'll make it like 175. So I'm varying my bet on every hand. It looks like I'm a regular guy, and that helps a lot in places where you're getting heat. It doesn't make sense that you're going exactly 50, 50, 50, 2 by 200. It doesn't make sense, and your longevity is not going to be there. And it's okay if you're going to travel around the country, but if you depend on a place, you can't do that. You can't just, 50 and then 2 by 200, 2 by 400, and then you're backed off in 20 minutes, and you're like, man, I get a lot of heat at this place. No kidding. Can you be more obvious about what you're doing? I know it's the most EV possible, but there's other ways to get the EV, and that is to vary your bet and stay right around where you need to be. It reminds me of, I heard it on a podcast somewhere, probably Blackjack Apprenticeship or something, where there were two guys that were traveling together, and they were playing blackjack, they were card counting, and what they would do is they would do a combined amount. So if it called for $250 from each of them, one would do 50, one would do 450, the next hand they'd both do 250, and so on, so that they're varying all the time, but their aggregate, their total, equaled the amount that it needed to be. And you can do that sometimes in a place that's kind of suspicious. You can vary your bet, but stay where you need to be. And the only downside of that is when you're on a run and it's a negative count and you stay at table minimum, at that point I'll be like, man, I'm like really worried right now. Then you could, like, instead of going, let's say 25, 25, 25, 20, you can go 25, 30, 35 back to 25, and the EV lost on that is going to be pennies. It's going to be $1 an hour, $2 an hour, something like that. And, anyway, just a suggestion. But I ended the session at the end of a shoe ahead $115. I know it's a weird number, but plus $115. My high for the session was plus 375. My low for the session was minus 2,300, and colored up and left. Looked at slots again, found nothing, and I'm moving on. So at this point, I'm in the city that I don't know very well, and the highway is closed. So it's taking me through the city streets on these back roads and through city streets and alleys and stuff to get me to the portion of the highway that's open. So I'm doing this, and we're going to move on to another place. We're going to play a few slots there, and that was really a heartbreaker too, because I had those nice counts and I zoomed up, and then the shoe ended, and it's like, what are you going to do? I just exposed a 1 to 20 bet, and now I'm going to go back to a minimum bet. So anyway, moving on. Not meant to be tonight. I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I am in the car, in the parking lot here, and getting ready to pull out as soon as this guy goes. There we go. Just got back to the car, and it's interesting. I usually just stop at this place just in case, but usually I don't find very much. This time I went all the way around the whole place, found nothing. I found a borderline play at a high bet level, like $6 a spin. And I said, no, I don't think that it's quite there. It's very close, but it's not quite there. And then it was still on my mind. I came back around again, and I decided against it. And then I came back around again, and I decided to go for it. And I sit down, I start playing, and it takes $500 like it was nothing, like straight $500 giving me nothing. And I end up in this machine for $900 before it starts to pay me. And then when it starts to pay me, it does pretty well. So let me see here. I took some pictures. So I got a $501 payout, an $800 payout, and a $658 payout, and then there was a $100 one in there I didn't take a picture of, and a $312 payout. But as I said, it's an expensive machine, so it's not like it's all profit or anything like that. But I ended the session ahead $721. So nice little session plus 721. If I had listened to my first instinct, I would have left without playing anything. But luckily, it all worked out. It all was good. And now I got to decide what to do. And I was a little freaked out when I first walked in, because as I was leaving the car, I looked at the time and I'm like, wow, it's late. It's so late already. How is this possible? I'm trying to add up, I've driven about 300 miles, and okay, that, and then I spent this much time at this place and this much time at this place, and it didn't add up. And when I was in the casino, I looked at my phone, and it was like, yeah, I've got an old car. It doesn't automatically update the time. So I still hadn't taken the time back an hour, so that's why I thought it was later than what it is. So at this point, I was planning on skipping the next place and moving on. But I think I'm going to go ahead and be a little daring here. I am already tired, but I'm going to move on. I'm going to take it one step at a time here. We're going to move on to the next place. And then from there, I'll have the option of going straight home or going to one more place or two more places. So we'll see how we feel. I'm still getting further away from home right now, which kind of stinks, because I'm hitting all these casinos on the way out, and then on the way back, it's like all driving and very few casinos to hit. But we're going to see what we can do here. We're going to move on to the next place, even if we're just hitting them for $100. Hey, we're already out. We're already here. The next place is about an hour away. Let's go hit that one. Even if we make $100, I'm okay with it. And we'll figure out what to do after that. But so far, so good. I'm glad that one worked out, because that one, the way it started off, it looked like it was going to be a couple $1,000s before I started hitting, but it all worked out. So for now, letting you go, and I'll be back to update you soon. See, it was my fault here. I made this happen because I said I'd be happy with making $100, and I basically made it happen. I'm just walking out of this place a long way to get out of here, but I walk in and can't find a blackjack table. Look at slots, go all the way to the back, find a couple play. Actually, one play is all I actually played, and I ended it ahead $20 and some change, so plus $20. And then I went and looked at the blackjack area, and there was there were two tables open. One was reserved and the other one was available. I sit down at that table and buy in for $500, and it takes him forever to get ready, and he's talking to me, and he's telling me about his life and what's going on. His second job is a bartender, and he might not be able to go there because someone screwed up and the schedule's messed up, and on and on and on. So I'm listening to this guy. Finally gets the cards on the table, start playing. First hand is a winner. Like the next 9 hands are losers back to back to back. End up rebuying and then rebuying again for a total of $1,500. I was involved for. And then the end of that shoe had like 300 left or something like that. And Indian guy and his wife come to the table and they want to play. So he buys in for 300 and he gets down to his last 50 about 5 times, and ends up coming back every time. And by the time I left, he had about 600 in front of him. But anyway, so we're playing and things are starting to improve a little bit at a time. I'm starting to build my stack a little bit. Like I said, I'm involved for 1,500 total. And then the reserve table next to us, a guy comes and he wants to play that table. So, okay, this guy looks like maybe he could be like an NFL player or something like that. He's a very big guy, and he's got an NFL logo around his neck, like a gigantic logo. It looks like cheap, like it's not worth anything, but he all right, sorry. So he looks like maybe he's like this NFL player or something, but he's got this real huge logo with a giant black chain around his neck. And I'm like, yeah, one of these guys that's probably broke and just coming to the table trying to make himself look like he's big stuff by having this dressed up like this and acting this way like he's got a lot of money. And he sits down at the table, and I look over a few minutes later, and the dealer is still counting money. And I don't know what the denomination of these bills were. I think they were hundreds. But the guy ended up buying in, I think, for a total of $20,000 on his buy-in. His initial buy-in was like $20,000. And it looked like he was betting like 2 hands or maybe 3 hands of 200 to start, something like that. And he played for about 5 minutes, and then he was on the phone for maybe half an hour. So I don't know what his deal is, what his angle is. But when I go to the cashier, I'm like, man, this guy back there might be like this NFL player. You're like, oh, I know who you're talking about. He's not. He's just some guy. I'm like, huh, that's interesting. Anyway, sorry about that pause there. There was somebody walking in the elevator with me, and I didn't want to keep talking. But anyway, so I ended the blackjack session. At the end of the shoe, I was ahead $75, and I'd been there for about an hour and 10 minutes, and I decided to take off. But that's blackjack for me right now, plus $75 and plus 20 on slots. When I came here, I said, oh, even if I only made 100, I'd be good. And here we go, plus $95 as I'm leaving, and not so good. It doesn't feel as good as I thought it would. All right, so now, not used to the time change, and I'm a little more tired than I thought I would be. The next casino from here is about 80 miles. If I want to go further from home, if I want to go closer to home, it's about 50 miles. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to one on the road home and kind of figure out where things are from there. Right now, it's way after midnight, and by the time I get home, it's going to be a few hours. Well, consider if I stop at the next 2 casinos that I'm planning on stopping, it's going to be about between 1 and 2 hours before I have to go to work. So I just got to be mindful of the time and make sure that I don't miss work. We'll talk more about work and all that later on. I'll be back. All right, guys. So I was just curious about this guy. And so I took a video on my way out just toward his table. It didn't come out too good, but just to kind of see how much he had bought in for or how much he had in front of him. And from what I can see from the video, he had about $25,000 probably in front of him. And he had the waiter, like the bartender, bring him like 3 or 4 bags of chips, couple Reese's, couple other candy bars, all kinds of stuff. And so the table's got all these snacks on it, and then it's got 4 or 5 different stacks, like a group of chips here, a group of chips here, and then he had stacks of money on the table, and he's talking on the phone, as I'm leaving. So, it's I always wonder about people's stories, and I've actually considered, and I might do this, and maybe give me your feedback, what you think. I think it would be entertaining to interview just ploppies, just like buy them lunch and just have the recording going and just ask them like questions about their life and their family and how much they play and stuff like that. And I think it would be interesting, even if they're each like 20 minutes long. I don't know how easy it would be to get people to do it, but I would listen to it if somebody did something like that. I think it's a very original, good idea. So Anyway, moving on to the next casino. I'll be back. Alright guys, I am back. Very peaceful out here right now. And in the VIP parking area right now, there are 3, 5, 8 cars. So nice and quiet. All the people that I have to compete with are already gone. And found a couple small plays. I think I was down like $11 or something like that. And then I found one more play near the door on the way out. Played that at 2 different levels and ended up winning about 100 on that. And overall ended up ahead $90. So plus $90. And we're moving on here. That place was pretty empty, but you can tell no one's been there for a while. To find plays on the same machine on multiple levels is usually not very easy to do. So right now, let me see, I'm gonna need gas. I think I can make it to the next place and then we'll stop and get gas and then finish our trip. So right now it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning, and yeah, we better get a move on here because otherwise we're not going to be able to get to work on time. So gonna head on out, and I'll have about 45 minutes max in the next casino, and then we'll have to head straight home from there. And that way we'll be able to take a little nap and take a shower, get ready for work, and get out of the house. One cool thing is, even though I have to work Wednesdays now, one good thing about that is I don't have to work weekends and nights. So I don't have to worry about watching, monitoring all their tools and stuff. And I hope that something happens and it freaks them out and they change their mind and let me start doing that stuff again. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's been a long time since anything severe has happened, and I don't want to make it happen on purpose, but if it does happen, it'll make them rethink things. So anyway, right now, I haven't even mentioned weather, but it's 59 degrees outside, and moving on to the next casino. Okay, honey. Alright guys, I'm back. So I go into this place, and it's pretty abandoned. And again, I tried to look at things that people normally don't look at, and I found a play. I played it out. It was about it was under $1 a spin. I made $7 on that play, and then looking around, couldn't really find much else. Found one more play in the back. It was $5 a spin. On the second spin, I had a big payout, and on the third spin, the play ended, and I ended up leaving that session ahead just from those two, $315. So plus $315, and that's a nice way to round out the night, or should I say the morning. I would say the sun will be coming up in about an hour and a half. You'll start seeing the sun come up, and today will be Monday morning. Tomorrow will be election day, so very exciting time. We'll see how things go with all that. So I was just wondering, what did you eat today, MW? Well, I mentioned that earlier today we had a birthday party for a couple kids. It was between their birthdays, and we just combined it into one. And one of them wanted some chocolate cake and one wanted some white cake. So we got one of each from Costco. Best place to get a cake is Costco. Best price, great tasting. They do a great job, and they'll even write on there for you whatever you want. So we did that, and for lunch I grilled some chicken breast, and my wife made some beef with beans, and we had like a taco bar. One of the kids wanted a taco bar, so we had that, beans, rice, lettuce, tomatoes, salsa, jalapenos, anything you want was there. And then the other kid wanted pizza, So we got some nice pizza, the one with the square thick pieces. That's nice and crunchy all the way around. We got a couple of those pizzas, and everyone enjoyed that. So that was pretty good. And I would rate that meal probably a Jack on a scale of 2 through Ace, one of my higher ratings. And then this evening, I did eat some chicken strips at a casino with this sweet barbecue sauce. It was they called it like a bourbon barbecue. It was pretty good, and I would give that probably a 10 on a scale of 2 through Ace. So that's what I ate. I'm trying to think that I had some beef jerky. That's no big deal. That's really about it. And then what did you tip today, MW? And I'm really glad you asked this time, because today at the blackjack table, I tipped the dealer $0. And then on the slots, I tipped $0. So that's a total of, carry the one. Oh, okay. The total is $0. So we did not tip anyone today. I'll give you a tip. Go work for a better company. So that's about it. So that's what's going on right now. I'm gonna start toward home, and I'll come back and give you some updates. All right, guys. As I'm continuing on my trip here, feeling pretty good energy, and stopped for gas. Everything is good. I'm going to continue on the rest of the way home, and should be getting home around 5:30. So that's all good. Tomorrow, lunch and afternoon casino visit, and then Wednesday, I'm hoping I can make this happen. We'll see. Depends on how I feel after the election, how tired I am, how late I stayed up, and stuff like that. But what I'd like to do on Wednesdays is try this out for a while and see if it works. Work Wednesday morning, casino at lunch, back to work Wednesday afternoon, and then travel for an overnight Wednesday evening, and then come back on Thursday afternoon, and we'll see if that works and how much money we make doing that. So we're going to try that out, and that's about it. If you have any questions or comments, my email is mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.